Why, hello there everyone, I'm the Kumo Sensei, and welcome back to another live stream. And yeah, really nice to be back here everybody. Like I stated, this is more of a chill live stream, so I don't really have any plans, but this is why I'm here, right? To chill. Finally have a day off again, and man, it's been kind of a hectic week honestly. Got some plans and some things, in the works, I guess. It's, yeah. Hello there, John. There's a lot I want to talk about for anime. Oh, the Apothecary Diaries. It is, I don't know. I know it was more Jinshi and Mao Mao. Oh my god. They should just get married. Just, I know they did like a CPR mouth-to-mouth kiss sort of thing. But really though, just get married already, for God's sake. It's just so nice, honestly, to like actually step back and watch anime, It's so beautiful. Oh, you just got home? That's good to hear. I have like I just got home too, believe it or not. I was at a friend's place just dropping something off. It's I have so much to say about anime. I really just want to I wish someone made like a tier list of like stuff, man. Like for like anime or something. I would just love to do that. The dub is still good. The dub is a little bit behind, but it'll catch up, John. Trust me. It's amazing, honestly. Yeah, I did trim my hair a little bit, everybody. One of my colleagues actually trimmed my hair. They did not like my hair. Just say that it was getting too long to where it was looking kind of emo. So they basically trimmed it down a little bit. So if my hair looks a little bit different, yeah, it's because of that. It just got a slight trim. At least it's more stylable now. But as of now, I'm just kind of grooving it to the side like this. And that's basically my hairstyle for now. But it's good to see everybody again though. Because like I promised I'll live stream Saturday. And lo and behold, here I am. Super excited. They're just... There's just so much things in my hand that I want to talk about. But it's one step at a time. And yeah. I would like to maybe audition afterwards, after this live stream. Submit some more auditions. And I did post the video on my Laxo channel about my retirements of the Tarantula stuff behind me. A lot of people do seem kind of sad. And I will be doing a Q&A about my Tarantula stuff, I guess. So that's going to be interesting. And yeah. So basically, a lot of the tarantulas and stuff behind me that you're seeing, all these containers and stuff, all of it will be gone pretty soon. Well, not pretty soon, but in the future, that is. Anime Hall, rotate. Psychopaths, okay, you're talking about Psychopaths. Okay, I actually like Psychopaths. So... let us talk about Psychopaths. I actually think Season 1 of Psychopaths is amazing. Season 2, not so much, if I'm being honest, but man, do I love Psychopaths, though. I know there's a Season 3 for Psychopaths, but I think Season 1 by itself is already pretty darn solid. Not to mention the opening is sung by TK, so aka the same singer as Tokyo Ghoul's opening. So, really, I like Psychopaths a lot. Is it perfect? No, it's not, but for what it is and for what it offers for its time, it's such an amazing series, man. I know Season 2 isn't as good in comparison to Season 1 and the later seasons, but Season 1 to me will always be that nostalgia feeling because it came out so long ago, man. Over 10 years ago now? Gosh, man, if people... the urge is in me, am I right? Let's... like... maybe I should just pull it up real quick. Psychopaths. Where's the first? There it goes. The first season's solid. Hold on, let me pull it up here real quick. Okay. Me and screen. So this is the first Psychopath. So this is kind of my hot take when it comes to animes and whatnot. I actually think the first season is pretty much the best season of Psychopaths. I know season 2 and season 3 and whatnot is already out. Season 3 came out 2019, I believe. But if we're talking about anime, this is probably the best season. This is the first season, though. But that is just my personal hot take. You don't have to agree with me on that. But that's just basically where I currently stand. Because I think that season, like, for the first season, it was like something completely different for its time. Because you have to remember, this came out in 2012. Like, it's like right after Sword Art Online, but before Attack on Titan. Well, actually, I think this was this was like a little bit before. No, I think this is the same time as Sword Art Online, because 2012. Yeah, so this is like before anime started becoming mainstream. Because 2013 to 2015 was like that slow transition of when like anime started to become more, how should I say it, more popular, I guess, because Toonami released the English dub for Attack on Titan in 2013, I believe. Or 2014 was it? It's been a very long time, but I'm talking about something from 12 years ago. That's how you know I'm old when it comes to watching anime and TV shows. It's because I know what I'm talking about. But still, though, in terms of Psycho-Pass, though, that you mentioned, John, season 1 to me will always be my go-to anime season for Psycho-Pass. Not a big fan of season 2 or 3, if I'm being honest, because it starts to become, I don't want to say stale, but it kind of starts to shift away from what like I saw from it from the first season. But yeah, though, anything you want to talk about, everybody who's here in the chat, feel free to leave it down below and I'll talk about it, because I am free today and it is really just a chill stream. So we're just gonna be, you know, just hitting everything off, I guess. Don't have to go crazy, man. Just whatever y'all guys want to talk about, because that's why I'm live streaming today. It's really just a Zatsudan live stream. For those that don't know, Zatsudan is basically chill or calming live stream. That's essentially what it is. And yeah, any topics is welcome, as long as it's not crazy offensive or things like that. But it's so nice to be talking to everybody, though, because I needed this break, honestly. I've been working a lot, and I'm also in the process of trying to get a new job and then start looking for places to live. Do you want a girlfriend? Yes, I do. I do want a girlfriend, but I'm not desperate, if you understand where I'm coming from. My Hero Academia final season will air in October 2025. I'm ready for that, but I wonder what people will think. Because I know when the manga ended, people were not really happy with the conclusion, and then they, and the Horikoshi, the creator of My Hero Academia, basically made some bonus panels and whatnot, some extra pages essentially, and people liked it a little bit more. Some people were not happy, but I think My Hero Academia's ending is not perfect in my personal opinion, but it isn't terrible either. And that's basically where I stand, though. But I'm pretty much ready for the My Hero Academia, you know, final season, even though I already know what happens. So I don't really necessarily need to actually watch the anime, my bad. So that's where I currently stand, though. So you don't, like, I don't want people to agree with my opinions. If you don't agree, you don't agree. If you do agree, you do agree, you know? Everybody should have open thoughts and opinions about anime nowadays. Some people do get very offended whenever you have an opinion or a small thought that, like, they don't agree with. But that's not really me personally. Like, everybody has different tastes, you know, or different experiences watching anime. Why don't you increase the daily push-up amount over time? So Jai, here's my personal opinion on that. I really don't do it as like a physical motivation. It's more of like a mental motivation. 25 for me is fine, but I just do an extra 2 or 3 just in case I miscounted. And I do always say this as well. I do work out as well. So like the 25 push-ups is not necessarily like a workout challenge. Because you have to remember, when I started doing the 25 daily push-ups, I literally, how should I say this? I did not plan it out. It was more just so of an idea that I had, and just something I needed to push myself on, you know, mentally. So like, I didn't do this for views. I didn't do it for, you know, things like that. It was just something I did for myself. As selfish as it is to say this, but this is just me just being honest here. Like, I don't want to say that, like, yeah, man, 25 push-ups is like the greatest workout. It isn't. Like, anybody can do 25 push-ups. Like even when I started on day 1, I could do 25, but not great in terms of form, because as I rewatch like my older daily push-ups, I'm like, yeah, I can do this better. And over time, my form did get better. I'm not gonna lie about that, but it's not like something big, you know. I didn't plan it out for what it is. It's basically what I'm saying. And I don't really need to push it more than what it needs to be, because I still do work out, diet, and train. So you know, it's not a workout. It's basically what I'm saying. It's more so of a mental push for me. Now, other people have started it as well after watching my videos, and some people are doing 50, some are going max out daily. It's pretty cool, honestly. Like, I don't get mad, I don't get jealous if people want to do it for views, or if they steal my idea. They're not stealing my idea, they're just doing it better, you know? So, like, it's all fair and game here, honestly. So, you can definitely find other push-up daily motivation videos, I guess, that other people are doing, inspired by me, that are way better. I'm not even gonna be, like, saying, like, man, these people just stole from me. No, it's not what I'm saying. I'm just so surprised at like the influence of what it can do, honestly, because you have to remember, I like, no one plans out what will go, like, what will get views, you know, because people nowadays think that like if you post a video on the internet, you're trying to become popular or try to go viral. That was never my case. Even now, a lot of my videos only get like 20 views and whatnot, but I don't really care. Like, I really don't. Because I promise you, a lot of new YouTubers nowadays will upload consistently for like a year or so, and then they'll just drop out and quit because they're not getting any views. For me, I've been uploading for over 3 years straight. Over 1,256 days now, I believe. And I have yet to miss a day. But, like, you have to understand that I don't have intentions of becoming a YouTuber full time. Because, I've seen it come and go, you know, people that have rise to the top and then just fallen off. And it's not because their content has gotten boring, or is that they basically became irrelevant. It's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that, like, new people come in, and that's, you know, so like the competition is more, but it doesn't mean they're irrelevant. But I just don't see YouTube as like a stable career. It's too fluctuated, you know. So why do you upload? Why do you do YouTube? So Jai, this is actually a very good question. So I actually, when I started this channel, I was just somebody who was just lost. Like, literally. I was losing everything. I'm not even gonna lie. You can go back to my first video on this channel. I believe it was called Blogzors and Happiness. I was just trying to find my place in this world, because at that time, I was going through a lot. So, like, the original plan that I wanted to do was to upload for 200 days straight and then just stop. But for some odd reason, like, I was just goofing around, having fun. And then lo and behold, 1,000 days later, after the 200 days, I'm here. So that's actually, like, this is just flat out truth, everybody. I'm not trying to, like, say, man, I did this because I want to be the big YouTuber, or I don't really care that I get the views, you know. No, please don't take it that way. When I started YouTube on this channel, it was literally just me just kind of feeling kind of sad for myself. I'm not trying to hide it or lie about it. Like, you can literally just watch that first video. Like, I was just somebody who was lost. And I just had so much fun uploading that, like, now I'm here, still uploading today. So I keep scratching my head of, like, how is it possible, you know? It's sad because, like it's the typical YouTube journey of, like, you meet other small YouTubers and other small content creators, and they're asking me, like, how did I reach 1,000 subs, or how do I keep uploading? Uploading daily? And really, just have fun and just don't even bother at this point of trying to chase the YouTube algorithm, because, like, I feel like the harder you try, the more difficult it is to succeed on this channel. I mean, not on this channel, but on this platform. Because, like, we don't no one knows the YouTube algorithm. It's just, you just got to get lucky. That's all I got to say, honestly. Yes, making really good content does help, but at the same time, like, you also have to ask yourself, like, the competition around, like, YouTube is so massive that, like, your video, no matter how good it is, will probably get drowned out by everybody else surrounding it. You know? So, like, please don't think that I'm doing this for views. It's not. It's more like a pastime at this point. And I'm truly thankful for the position that I'm in. Like, I don't take anything for granted. I don't force my subscribers or you guys to stay on my live streams, you know? I even now, I still say it. If you gotta go, you gotta go. Or if it doesn't interest you, it doesn't hurt my feelings if you leave. Because, like, I'm not chasing what other people are chasing on YouTube. And I think that's one thing that kind of hurts a lot of the other push-up videos now that I'm mentioning it. So a lot of the, like, daily push-up videos that other people are doing based on what I do, one thing I've noticed is that a lot of them are asking for likes and subscribes and things like that. They're doing it for views, and strangely enough, it comes off as like it comes off as disgenuine. Like, it's not authentic, you know? So like so like they don't stay around long, honestly. Like, I don't do this because I want to. Well, I do this because I want to, but I don't do this for the necessity of trying to grow for views, you know? Not trying to hurt anybody's feelings here, you know? This is just me just being, like, one-on-one with you guys. But as I stated, like, YouTube is not an obligation for me as of now. Even, like, if it starts feeling that way, then maybe I'll stop uploading daily. But I really just gotta talk about that, you know, because it might hurt a lot of people's feelings, but it's just a solid truth. I don't do this for views. But man, if I did, I will be the most YouTuber you would ever see. I'd be like and comment, subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell notification so you never miss an upload. No, I'm not gonna do that. That sounds that sounds so fake in a way. But I understand the people that do ask for likes, comments, and subscribes. You know, people who ask for that are asking for, you know, it doesn't hurt to ask, but at times it can come off as desperate. But yeah. Anyhow, though, next topic. Kaiju number 8 season 2 is scheduled for July. Yes. Kaiju number 8 is kind of in a weird spot. I think it has steam, but it doesn't have the respect that it deserves. And that's currently where I stand for Kaiju number 8. I think the manga is very good, though. I'm not even going to flex that. Like I don't need to flex it because the manga panels for Kaiju number 8, it really speaks for itself. It is truly magnificent. The kaiju designs, like the line art is so beautiful. Oh man, it's an amazing manga, by the way. Anime kind of, I don't hate the anime for Kaiju number 8, but it does kind of miss a little bit. But I'm not saying it's bad though. I just prefer the mangas because the manga's impact, I feel it. Gensato, yes, Gensato is he's an OG, honestly. It's kind of funny because I know him for Tomozaki-kun. I love bottom tier Tomozaki-kun because like it just teaches you how to be a normal person. But man, it's kind of funny how people are like, yeah, talk about anime. I know too much about anime. But like I stated, this live stream is talking about anything. So whatever anybody wants to talk about, just leave it down below. It doesn't have to be anime, anything in general, because I don't, like, it's an open live stream, I guess. Just don't put in anything inappropriate or anything crazy like that. Stay civilized, but be open too, you know? But I have a lot to say about, like, a lot of the current animes being announced. Because, what you call it? Was Anime Fest? Yeah, Anime Fest 2025 was very hyped. Basically, if you don't know what Anime Fest 2025, well, you don't know what Anime Fest is, it's essentially like what you call it? It's like E3 or like or like a Nintendo Direct, basically, but except it's for anime. A lot of animes have been announced, so like it's not too surprising because I have the live stream was super hype. If you missed out on the live stream, just go watch it on YouTube because I think it's still there. If it is, if it isn't, then you can just Google about all the announcements that was made. Anime Japan, there it goes. Anime Japan 2025. That's what it is. Thank you, John. Correction there. Anime 2025. Anime Japan 2025. But yeah, a lot of animes have been announced, but it's like it's a lot. Just put it that way. It's a lot. So the question I keep asking myself is like, are anime fans are like, can they even keep up? Because one thing I've noticed is that as I've grown older watching anime, it becomes harder to keep up. Let me hold up. Okay, hold up. We're talking about this here, baby. Okay. Me string. Or me and screen. There it goes. So this is basically what I want to talk about here. Anime Japan. Okay, there's a lot to talk about here. So like, a lot of announcements. Like, a lot of stuff has been announced. So, where do we begin? So, Sakamoto Days Part 2. We can talk about Sakamoto Days, actually. Sakamoto Days, to me personally, is a great series. I feel kind of sad that a lot of people don't really find it as interesting, I guess. But to me personally, I think Sakamoto Days is a really fun series. It gives me the same enjoyment as what you call it? Gives me the same enjoyment as Spy Family, because it's not. I think people. Okay, here's the thing. I actually think people take anime way too seriously. So like, if it's not a solo leveling for any stretch of the matter, people just don't really want to bother with it. Which is kind of like the sad truth in a way. Because like, we as anime fans have way too much on our minds of what we want, that like nobody is really considering the fact that like can we just enjoy anime for what it is, So for me personally, Anime Japan 2025 has so much amazing anime announcements. This is crazy. Like, I'm not even complaining, dude. They still have more announcements to make. I believe there's yeah, there is right here. What am I looking at? So it's 2 days. It's on the 22nd and 23rd of Japan. And I'm here in America, so our time zones are different. But essentially, though, a lot of animes have been announced. Sakamoto Days Season 2, or Part 2, that is. I'm super hyped for it, but at the same time, I understand that a lot of people may not find interest in it. The Apothecary Diaries, I love the Apothecary Diaries. I think that series is amazing. Yeah, I saw the new Panty and Stocking trailer, but like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not the biggest Panty and Stocking fan, but I do know people who are. My online friends from back then were like the biggest Panty and Stocking fans ever. Like, I remember we used to share DeviantArt illustrations online on the old forums. Man, that takes me back, John. I'll admit that it takes me back. Like, just talking about anime back then was so different from what it is now, because anime back then, like, the only places you'll find anime friends is usually online through like the old anime forums. My page, I'm not going to tell you what my account was, but my postings of the old anime forums is still there too. You'll know it's me, but at the same time, you'd be like, yeah, that's not the Sensei. His thoughts is not like that. It's pretty amazing, honestly, how like my taste in anime has changed and how the anime fandom has changed. Because there was anime conventions back then, but I'm going to tell you this right now: anime conventions back then were kind of okay. This is kind of funny to say this. Anime conventions back then, like in terms of cosplay and stuff, was not really anime character focused. You had more cosplay stuff towards like gaming characters and stuff. So that's the funny thing. Like, anime cosplays didn't really take off until like 2013, 15-ish is when that transition period happened. But before then, a lot of your cosplays and stuff at anime events was mostly game characters, not anime much at all, because anime wasn't as big. Sword Art Online was like the as much as I hate to admit it, was kind of like the opening door in a way. And then like Attack on Titan made it mainstream then in 2013. Because I know there was like Death Note, Sailor Moon, and things like that. But you have to understand that back then Death Note was more like this is for the intellectuals people sort of thing, you know? It was like the cool anime for the cool people, if you want to be like one of the cool anime fans, you know? And then Sailor Moon, classic, obviously. And then you had things here and there. Like, you had Soro no Otoshimo, and then you had things like Elfen Lied. Elfen Lied, man, that was crazy. Elfen Lied and Higurashi, these two horror animes were like everybody's like... It was like culture shock into anime because of the violence in it. Like, it was crazy. I remember people used to make anime music videos using clips of Elfen Lied and Higurashi. That's how old I am, like, in terms of, like, the anime fandom. This is, like, 2008. Like, oh, man. Those are some good times. And, like, so, like, Elfen Lied and Lowly Killer, I mean, Higurashi was, like, the shock factor of anime for a lot of people coming into anime. And, was this before, what you call it? Not Blood... This is before Blood C and Blood C Plus, right? I think so, actually. It's funny because I'm talking about anime history like it was just yesterday. A lot of people get bored when I talk about anime, but like, you can learn a lot from me, like just from me mentioning it. It was very strange back then. Like, I'm not even kidding. Anime fans were strange. Yep. Now you mentioned One Piece. So One Piece is very interesting right now, because right now at the last, the anime for the dubs caught up to the original Japanese voice acting of One Piece. So like, in terms of One Piece, like for the Egghead Island arc, basically very peak. And it's funny because basically they decided to like take a break just so they can finish up basically re-releasing the Fishman Island arc, but in like the modern style. So the pacing for the Fishman Island arc is much more faster. I actually do think the Fishman Island arc does drag though. I'm not even gonna lie. I know it starts right after the 2-year time skip of One Piece, but man, I was not a big fan of the Fishman Island arc. Not until the end. Because like the little Red Hawk in reference to Ace and whatnot, I thought that was cool. But man, is it a drag. And I'm glad they remade it to where the pacing is much better, because it was just driving me nuts, if I'm being honest here. But anyhow though, yeah, One Piece finally caught up. I love One Piece a lot. The manga is amazing. And I no spoilers, but super excited to see what happens in One Piece's manga. And it's funny because like I'm really happy that they're actually remaking a bit of like the One Piece arcs, the ones that drag, because now anime fans can slowly start to catch up in modern speed. Yes, that's the thing. It starts the whole red line, you know, thing. It's very interesting, honestly, discussing about One Piece, because One Piece is different. Like, when people mention anime, like, One Piece is so different because One Piece is it's an entire world. Like to all the non-One Piece fans, when you think of One Piece, you either think of pirates or Luffy. But the thing that makes One Piece so different is that the whole world is, like, affected by the things that happen in it, you know? That's the one reason why I love One Piece. It's like you... See, the thing about modern animes is that once an arc ends, they don't really go back to it. Like, they may mention it briefly and whatnot, but like, they don't in some ways, you know? Well, the reason why I love One Piece is because like, when something happens in the future of like the anime, all the people from like the past story arcs and all the people that like they basically moved away from, like they get... Like the world watches what happens, basically, is what I'm saying. And that's what makes One Piece so beautiful, because it starts off as like the small little wave, like the small little ripple, that becomes a big tidal wave, then expands to becoming like a hurricane or a typhoon. It is a beautiful thing to watch One Piece unfold. Like, it's one of those shows where, like, when the world starts feeling the effects of the main characters, it is not like something that is given. It's more like it's earned. Characters. This is why I love One Piece, man. One Piece is truly something special in terms of world building. I don't think, like, world building in anime is very difficult, especially in an anime, because like usually it's just story, not really world building. But One Piece tackles both, which is kind of like the things I just can't wrap my head around. Because you look at modern animes nowadays, I'm not saying they're bad by any means, but modern animes tends to cater towards the idea of like just making cool fight scenes or making interesting story arcs, but not necessarily flesh out the world itself. So it kind of becomes like a hassle in a way. One of the reasons, this is a little bit of a tangent here. This is one of the reasons why I like old school Dragon Ball, you know, because old school Dragon Ball, like little kid Goku and whatnot growing up, was that like this was before like Super Saiyan and whatnot in Dragon Ball, but this is like Dragon Ball where it started. Dragon Ball to me was amazing because it was like Goku and Bulma exploring this world, you know, along with like Yamcha and Krillin and whatnot later on. And basically you just know more about Earth itself, you know, Goku's Earth, that is. And then Dragon Ball Z comes around, nobody gets a freak, this planet's exploding and Super Saiyan powers. It's more like a power fantasy, you know, once you get to Z and the rest. But I love world building. It doesn't hurt to have it, you know. A lot of modern animes don't have world buildings because it's more like it's set in modern day Japan, for example. So it doesn't really need to be fleshed out for the world. This is the thing that makes it very hard to write a lot of Shonen Jump animes nowadays. Is that if you're creating this world or you're creating a series, it needs some sort of world development, like some sort of, you know, settings to be built out. But man, I can go on days and days. I think like two great examples I do like. One, Hunter x Hunter, obviously. Another one, old school Dragon Ball. Another one, you know, what we just mentioned earlier, One Piece. There's a lot of good world building animes out there. World Trigger is probably another one, to some extent, I guess, for another anime series. Like, I can go on for days just mentioning good world building. Naruto is somewhat good, but not really. There's flaws in Naruto's world building if you overthink it, but for what it offers, I think it's pretty solid. But yeah, though, if you're wondering why a lot of like mangas don't really make their own worlds nowadays, it's really just because it's difficult to flesh out the world. If it's like a fantasy setting or like a made-up world or something, you know. So most of the times you'll get like historical fiction stuff like Demon Slayer, for example, or you'll get modern day stuff like Jujutsu Kaisen in modern day Tokyo, or Chainsaw Man in modern day Tokyo, you know, modern day Japan, that is. So it's very interesting, honestly. This is why I also like Fire Force as well, because Fire Force does flesh out a lot of its world, not to mention it wraps up very well. But anyhow, though, very interesting conversation to have, because like it's very strange how world building is kind of a thing that people have forgotten about now. I guess people do just want to see some really cool fighting sequences, I guess, like Solo Leveling. You know, Solo Leveling's recent episodes have been fire, just straight fire. I actually do think the story does suffer a bit. Actually, it suffers a lot, both the novel and the manhwa, for no spoilers, because it becomes very repetitive. To where, like, yeah, we know Jin is gonna be, you know, no disrespect to Jinwoo, really cool guy, but it's just that constant cycle of like aura farming, you know. This actually will trigger a bit of this is actually one of the problems in the manhwa that got people kind of infuriated about our main character Jinwoo and Solo Leveling. Is that like, it's like, are you just gonna keep waiting until people get injured and die before you to jump in? Like, this bothers me. You can tell I'm stuttering because of that. I really don't like it when like they kill characters and then have the main character jump in last second to help. It just kind of makes me infuriated. Sometimes I just wish they just go straight in and just Like the main character just jumped straight in and just killed the main antagonist and just called it the end of this arc, you know? Yeah, I know. That's why I'm super excited for Solo Leveling Season 2's finale. I actually do enjoy it though. But like, I'm not gonna be the person that will say it has its faults, you know? It does have its faults. It's not perfect by any means, but for what it offers, it's amazing. Like, I don't really think there's a perfect anime out there, if I'm being honest. I was gonna make it a live stream, but I decided not to because it was too specific. And that is, what is the perfect story in an anime? And then we was gonna go down this rabbit hole of just looking for the perfect anime. But if anybody if anybody wants to look for the perfect anime or recommend a perfect anime to me in terms of storytelling, please let me know because I would like to see it. Because I know people are going to mention stuff like Attack on Titan or things like that, but like this finding, this is the thing that I find very interesting about anime. Anime very rarely does have actual wrap-ups in terms of storytelling. Very few will wrap up perfectly. The majority of them will have plot holes or will have like character arcs that are not resolved. No disrespect to some people in Naruto, but yeah, you know, okay, I'm curious now. I'm getting that itch. Okay, here's the plan. The plan today, everybody. We're going to be looking for story perfect anime. All right. I'm getting that itch, so we're gonna jump into this now. So I've watched so many animes at this point. Been watching anime for 16 years. So here's the plan. We're looking for the perfect story in anime. Or no, that sounds too specific. The perfect anime wrap-up, I guess. So basically what I'm saying here is that I'm looking for the anime that wraps up the best. So, yeah. This will be a topic we should have at some point, though. But for now, or for the next stream, I really want to know, like, what are some actual decent animes out there in terms of storytelling? Because let us actually, hold up. Sorry, everybody. Give me a second. Me screen. There we go. So let us actually, like, try to find something that resembles what I would say a perfect anime. I would say Fire Force, but we already said Fire Force, so I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. Windbreaker Season 2 is scheduled for April 3rd. I have yet to see Windbreaker, so I can't comment on that, John. But, man. Have you seen the top airing animes, though? We had Solo Leveling, and then the Apothecary Diary Season 2. And then you had ReZero. Very interesting, but in terms of storytelling, I really, like, we already mentioned Fire Force and then Oshobutai, but I really do think that nobody will ever watch his anime, but I do mention it from time to time. Bacano. This is probably my favorite anime in terms of storytelling, or this story is freaking awesomely wild. I love this anime a lot, actually. So a lot of people may not know what this story is about. Let's just say this is a story that is extremely hard to follow. I'm not even kidding. I remember when I was watching this anime when I was 13 years old. This was 11 years ago now that I think about it. I was legit writing down notes and everything because this anime has so many characters and not one character in this anime is wasted. They utilize every single character and it ties up so interestingly funny and beautiful at the same time. Love this story. I still do watch this anime yearly. Once every year, I'll watch it around October to November to celebrate my anniversary with this anime, because this anime here is truly something special. Now, I will not discuss about what the story is about, but let's just say it takes place between 1929 to 1932-ish. And basically, it jumps back and forth in between different times with different characters, with different motivations, all while at the same time, basically unfolding the story of these immortal people. And that is... there is a lot of goddamn characters in this. Okay, that's all I can say. Just watch this anime and you'll be confused. But this anime here is a masterpiece, though, in terms of storytelling. Because there's nothing like it. The English dub is what I recommend if you do watch this, because this the setting of this show takes place in America. And man, even though the English dub is kind of old now, the English dub to this anime is in the opening. I love jazz music, by the way, because I grew up here in the Carolinas with the Carolina blues and the jazz type of music sometimes down here in the South, here in America. So like the what you call it? The music, Guns N' Roses, that's what it's called. I mean, I vibe to that. That is a vibe. But there is a lot of characters in this. Oh man, this show is not for everyone. I'll tell you that, because if you don't like complex characters and complex narratives, this show is not for you personally. But if you like animes or storytelling that you have to kind of piece together by yourself, and you like a bunch of interesting and unique characters, this is your show for sure. Because it does tell you some stuff, but it tells it out of order. And because of that, like, if you want to understand these characters better, you kind of had to, like, take notes. I love this show. This show really taught me a lot about, like, just narratives in anime, you know, and how far it can go. This takes place in the same universe as Durarara, by the way, which is even more fascinating. And I usually don't talk about this show too often because I really just want to keep this show as like my hidden gem personally, but I do recommend it every now and then because this show is what I'll consider to be a really good show in terms of story and concluding stuff. But anyhow, though, I can't think of much others. I know Steins Gate is one that I mention a lot, because I think Steins Gate to me is probably the closest of what I like. Is ranked number 3 too. This show here to me is always... This was not my first anime I ever watched, but this is definitely my favorite anime of all time. Re:Zero could be up here actually. Re:Zero and Steins Gate could be tied in different ways. But as of now, Re:Zero is a story that's still ongoing. But Steins Gate to me is what I consider to be like a perfect anime almost. Because it wraps up beautifully, character gets conclusions, and the best part about it is that, like, I feel like the creator of Steins Gate actually thought of the ending first and then worked backwards towards the beginning. Because, like, usually when it comes to time traveling animes and complex narratives like this, usually what ends up happening is that, like, the time traveling elements usually causes issues in terms of storytelling. Because, let's be honest, if you're jumping through time, there's a lot of plot holes that, like, the series can basically build up. But Steins Gate doesn't really have any of those plot holes. So, like, it is truly a miracle that this anime is as good as it is. Because you have to remember, Steins Gate is adapted by a visual novel that came out on PSP, and I believe it also came out on PC in 2009. It was published by Nitroplus. And I still remember like it was yesterday because my cousins was the ones that actually got the novels, the visual novels of Steins Gate. But I didn't really play the visual novels, if I'm being honest, until like 2013. So 2 years after the anime. So I'm not going to be here and say like I'm the guy that played it when it came out. I did not play the visual novel at all. Not until later on. And even then, like, it was such... It's an experience, I'll tell you that. I have yet to play Steins Gate Zero. But Steins Gate Zero is an alternate reality. Basically the other timeline where he saves Mayuri and Makise Kurisu is basically dead and whatnot. So it is a fascinating world that we live in when it comes to Steins Gate. I truly don't think that there will be another series like it. Re:Zero is probably up there if it ends well, and if all the characters tie up right, then I think ReZero will be up here with Steins Gate. So, I actually love time traveling animes. This is okay. I'm gonna get off topic now. I don't want to, because now we're mentioning time traveling. I actually like time traveling in anime and in any other any other forms of media, whether it's movies like Back to the Future, or like visual novels such as Steins Gate, Time Hollow, and that yada yada, or fantasy such as ReZero, or things that are kind of dramatic like Sakurada Reset. Asami God tier. That's funny. You're funny for saying that. Yeah. Asami. So here's the thing. She's an amazing voice actor. Like I'm not even gonna lie about that, but I don't really know her recent voice acting roles though, if I'm being honest, because you have to be honest here. A lot of the voice acting competitiveness, I guess, or a lot of the voice acting industry as of now in Japan is very difficult. It's gotten so difficult to the point, in fact, that like one of the bigger voice actors, basically her advice was so cutthroat in a way, the way she said it, that some people kind of took offense to it. And it's basically, she said that like to be a voice actor in today's time, you need to have clout. You need to have like a following, basically, like popularity. Because if not, like getting into voice acting is going to be relatively difficult. And I actually don't think she's lying about that. I think there's actually some truth to it, because like I'm not gonna lie, if I, the Kumo Sensei, was not known for my anime and stuff, and I was just posting voice acting videos, I don't think I'll get any views on those videos and whatnot. So there is without question that I think there is some truth to what she's saying. I forgot which voice actress said it. One of those Japanese voice actresses was saying that, and she's not technically wrong though. As a stage actor, I'm going to say this too as well. Having some sort of clout, or having some sort of like internet presence, will help out your careers no matter what. If you're talented and nobody knows who you are, you need to find a way to put yourself out there. Because if not, booking roles for voice acting roles or for acting roles in general, as a stage actor myself, is going to be relatively difficult. So like, to say Asami Imai is god tier, I don't even disagree with that, because I really do think she's an amazing voice actress as Makise Krisu. Christina! Like, we live in a world that... We live in such a strange time nowadays. We live in different times, I'll say that. I know people will say you need to work hard, and that is true, you do need to work hard, but really you need to get lucky. Like, it takes skill and luck. I don't think it's all luck or all skill. It's a mix of both. And when both of those hit together, that point you call is RTAP. And RTAP stands for right time and place. Everybody's moment of their RTAP moment will be different. Some people will need more luck to reach that RTAP moment, and some people will need more skill to reach their RTAP moment. But RTAP is what everybody needs. In which, as I stated before, RTAP means right time and place. Like you need those to all line up. Hello there, Otaku. Doing pretty good. I hope you guys are going well. But yeah, though, we were just talking about some voice actors and stuff like that, and getting into this industry. But I can go on and on for days if we're talking about voice actors, because like, I am a voice actor, but not a professional voice actor as of yet. I am, however, an actor, a stage actor of 9 years, so I can give you some insight. It's basically kind of the same thing, but different steps, or different bubbles of acting, I guess. But, like I stated, I would like to get into voice acting, but I want to do it for roles that I like, or roles I think I can do justice for. I'm not just going to take up a bunch of random voice acting roles, because then I'll seem too desperate. But man, I'm so hyped again. And okay, here's the thing. If I ever get a voice acting role, I'll tell you guys, but I'm not going to tell you what it is and whatnot because there could be NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, like how it is when it comes to like every single other audition that I do for acting. But I will go into voice acting though. That is currently the goal, but I just need time. But the reason why it's so difficult for me right now is because one, I'm trying to get another job so I can do this. Number two, move out. Because I am trying to move out, but it isn't as easy, just put it that way. Right now, I'm trying to do something like a mortgage, so that way I can respectfully get my stuff together and move out and get a house of my own. But once I do though, I really want to pursue voice acting more often. Like once I get off my full-time job, or my new full-time job that is. So like, I always, like, I know people are asking me, Sensei or Kumo, what is your acting background? 9 years into acting, by the way. And I have been trained in voice acting as well. So, it's nothing too... This is nothing new, honestly. I think everybody knows that I'm trained in acting and stage acting for over 9 years now. But now I really want to get into it seriously, but not desperately. So I want to take my time because I don't want to take shortcuts. So a lot of like, I don't want to say anything mean, but let's just say there's a lot of new voice actors out there every single day, but a lot of them cannot. Oh man, this is going to sound offensive. As an actor, I don't think a lot of voice actors and actresses are great at acting with their voice. Don't take that personal, but like, hey, it's just me, okay, everybody? Oh, you're talking about, okay. Okay, John. Here's the thing. Everybody's journey in voice acting will be different. This is without question, you know. There is no one way to get into voice acting. Everybody's journey will be different. Because think about it. Like, let's use Chris Sabat, the voice of Piccolo and Vegeta in the English version of Dragon Ball Z. Basically, he was a radio host. He was doing radio talks and whatnot on his radio station. And he basically ended up voicing as Piccolo in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. So like, everybody's background will be different. Me, I come from a stage acting background, you know. Some people will go the traditional route of basically going into voice acting workshops and being taught how to voice act, what microphones to use, advice on the on getting into this industry and things like that. But not everybody will follow that path. Everybody starts off differently, is basically what I'm saying. So like, so this is what I was taught, and I think I will say this to you as well. When you start chasing after something that someone else is doing, such as voice acting or YouTube or something, you have to consider that there are different ways to get into it, and everybody's starting point will be different. Because like, you have to understand, like, their time is their time, my time will be my time, you know? Because like back then, there wasn't as much competition in the voice acting industry. Now there's too much competition in the voice acting industry, and it's only getting harder and harder. And it's really, and honestly, if I'm being honest, I think a lot of voice actors and voice actresses nowadays, a lot of them really do need their own social media platform. Not just like a website for like their credentials, because every voice actor or voice actress will recommend you make your own website. But in my personal opinion, what you really need is some sort of internet. You need some sort of clout. Because like, it's just too difficult. Like yes, you can be talented, and yes, that can go very far, but you also need some way of exposure. So this is why I upload like voice acting videos every single time. Because in the past, I was just uploading just to practice a bit of vocal range for stage plays and whatnot. Now I'm posting it every now and then, hoping that it can build my portfolio, you know? So, this is just me just speaking the way it is. Like I don't really want to talk too much about voice acting, because like my experience of voice acting thus far, even though I do have voice acting experience, practice, and whatnot, I'm not a professional voice actor as of yet. I still need to get a role or something to get me started. But I can't talk. But I can talk about it as if I'm relating it to acting, because I am an actor, by the way, and I can relate to other stuff too that I've done, like my other career paths. Building a career path is very difficult, I'll tell you that. But you need to take your time. But yeah, though, I did somewhat retire from the Tarantula work. Even though I still have my tarantulas behind me back here. That was a whole history of in itself. But I'm going to say that for my Laxo channel, for those who are interested in that. But anyhow, though, everybody, voice acting in general, though, I really do want to one day join the rest of like my voice acting people that I look up to. Not just the small ones, but like the bigger, not just the big ones, but the small ones as well. So I know a lot of people know like the biggest voice actors and voice actresses, like, you know, Troy Baker, Yuri Lowenthal, you know, Chris Sabat, Veronica Taylor, and all these legendary stuff. And even on the anime level, such as Kevin Von Tang, you know, Sung Cho Won, Amy Lowe, and, you know, Susie Young, and all these people. And even on the small indie levels, such as like Rap Scrap, you know, those Utah Tates and whatnot, I really want to I really want to be on their level, you know, just slowly build up my repertoire, so one day I can be seen as equals. But that's just my big dream in voice acting. Like, I don't want to meet to everybody, because that's impossible, but I do like want to become equals with them, you know, not just like meet them as like a fan, you know, because I know what I'm worth, everybody. Like, I know my skill level, I know my weaknesses, my strengths. Like, I'm already I'm trained in this form, you know. Like, I think, see, my coming up story is not really coming up. It's more like I'm transitioning from one form of something professionally into something else. So I don't want to be like, I don't want to be the person that talks like I'm the underdog in the story. It's more of like I'm just the person nobody knows about. Not necessarily the underdog, because like I did start from nothing, I will not lie. But I started when I was young. You know, I'm 24 now, but a lot of this talents and stuff started when I was younger, like 12, 13-ish. So like, unlike a lot of people who are starting maybe in their late teens to early 20s, I already had a head start. That put me at an advantage over everybody else. So I don't want to be like those people that say that, man, I started late, but look at me now. You know, I have no right to do that. So I just don't want to lie and say like I'm the underdog. In a way, I kind of am the underdog in terms of like people not knowing who I am and how long I've been doing what I've been doing. But I get kind of like, I feel kind of bad when people try to like always put me as the underdog, because I didn't just start recently, is basically what I'm saying. You should update your My Anime list and start with romance anime. Okay, here's a surprise, John. I'm working on it. That will be for a future stream. So right now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to reset everything, or at least thinking about starting a new account, and then just slowly add animes back onto it. And then from there we can see what what has changed about me, and then compare it to like my old list. Because there's a lot that has changed. Just put it that way. Like, the thing about me is that my anime taste, though, John, if I'm being completely honest, it changes a lot. Like, because like 16 years of anime, you will go through your phases. I don't think anybody is strictly stuck into one type of genre or one type of anime style, or, you know, whatnot. Just like people will all change over time. Some people may like this more later on, or some people may like that more later on. So like for me personally, as I grow older, I really do like the more slow life, romance, and those sort of animes, and less of the actual animes that focuses on like actions and shonen. It's kind of, that is such a hot take, honestly. I don't hate those type of animes, but like my taste has changed a lot since then, you know. It's very interesting though, because like I don't remember what was my first anime taste. I really don't. I would be lying if I said I know I like the anime like Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece of all the fighting Shonen Jump animes. I don't remember that. Like the earliest I can remember in terms of like my anime taste was more of like the it was just so strange. Just put it that way. I don't remember it. How do you get into voice acting? What's your story? So my story into voice acting is actually very interesting. So here's the thing. So this was my second year in college. Okay, so let's actually talk about voice acting now, because this is actually a very good story. So I have been trained 4 times in voice acting. So allow me to explain. So during my second year in college, I was basically doing stage acting for fun. I was on and off stage acting, if I'm being honest. I wasn't into stage acting 24/7 as I was for that later period of my life. And basically what happened was that during my second year of college, basically the auditorium, or the place we was going to have our stage play, was a slightly larger gymnasium. So because of that, like when we was doing our line rehearsals and basically practicing for our stage play production, our producer at the time, basically the person in charge, was dissatisfied with our vocal ranges, because like he was sitting more towards the far back, and he can barely hear us perform. So he's like, imagine if there's a full crowd here and they can't hear you. So what he did was he bought in some voice actors. So he bought in 2 voice actors and then 1 radio host. And basically for the next week or so, we were basically in a workshop training how to speak louder and how to properly adjust tone, voice with character. And that was basically how I started voice acting. So this is like my 4th year into acting. So like 6-7 years into voice acting now, if we're being transparent here. So after that, like that was basically all the voice acting experience I had. And trust me, those 3 people were fantastic. No complaints at all. Like they didn't really lie. It was more like they just kind of told their life story of how they got to where they are now. So that was pretty interesting. They're not big voice actors by any means, but they did have something in their belt. I forgot what's their names. That's the funny part. I feel kind of bad because it was such a long time ago. But my 4th time I got into voice acting, I actually paid for this workshop. It was pretty bad, just put it that way. I did not like it. It was really bad, if I'm being honest. And that was my 4th time. I did learn a little bit, but not a lot. So I've been trained by 4 different people, I guess is the best way to put it. And yeah, that's my voice acting experience. And you have to remember, I'm a stage actor at that time. I had no strong inclinations to becoming a voice actor. It was more towards okay, this is kind of funny. After those classes, I really was hooked. If I'm being honest, I was really hooked then into voice acting. So like I tried to get like a small little group together. That didn't work out. I actually made a video on that. One of my first videos was actually discussing about like me and my small voice acting group on Discord. It was a complete failure, by the way. We did not go anywhere with our voice acting careers at that time. This was like a long time ago. I gave up on that. Like, I gave up on voice acting, but I continued on with stage acting. But now I really want to get back into voice acting. But my voice acting story is very different from everybody else's. I know people went the traditional route of like hiring a voice acting coach or hiring or going into a workshop and learning that way. But for me personally, it was more out of obligation for stage acting. It was not necessarily meant for voice acting in itself, you know? Yeah, but that was basically how it started for me though. I'll be lying if I said like I knew everything about voice acting. I did not. All I learned was how to train my voice acting and basically learn how to get into character. So like you can like it's pretty obvious. You can tell I'm trained in voice acting. I mean, you can just like watch my voice acting videos and you can hear, you're like, yeah, I get the vibe, you know. I'm not trying to see the thing is this. I'm not trying to play a character whenever I do voice acting videos. I am the characters when I'm voicing a character. This is the thing everybody needs to understand is that like, yes, you might sound like a fitting role, but did you play the role well, you know? So for me personally, like my approach for voice acting comes more from a stage acting background than from an actual voice acting background. Because like there is nothing that irritates me more than when someone else takes your roles away from you and those people are incompetent. That drives me nuts. Because like you don't know how many times I had to starve or train to get into an acting role. And when auditions come around, like you was second in line to somebody else because basically like like why? So that's the thing about me. I have to do characters justice if I'm going to be voicing a role. Like there's a lot of thought that goes into it and a lot of work, but not as much work as it was back then because since I'm already trained, it's not as hard. So like I can basically mix and edit my own audio, But a lot of people will tell you that like, bro, you need to get this mic, whether it's a ATX or something, or they'll tell you to get like a what you call it, a Herman, no, like come on, you don't need to get those expensive stuff. You just really need to start acting. And that's my acting experience. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not even gonna hold anything back. A lot of new voice actors and stuff that post their their demo reels and whatnot, they have really good voices, but they're really bad at acting. Like really bad at acting. I really do recommend people do study the form of acting, such as improv acting, which I believe was like a Russian form of acting. And like people should this is kind of strange. I think people should study acting, not just in anime and in voice acting, but study acting in general. I think great places to start, in my personal opinion, Charlie Chaplin, because the reason why I recommend Charlie Chaplin, even though people know him as like this comedic black and white genius and whatnot, when he acts, it was very like, even though it was mostly black and white and not really much audio, like you can see visually like the personification, This is why like in my daily push-up videos, you see me do a lot of hand gestures like this, And it's really because like I got it from Charlie Chaplin, He does like a lot of like physical acting, And then you have some people that are really great with subtle acting, such as Christian Bale. Some of his movies. I know people use American Psycho as like a great example of acting, but really the reason why I like Christian Bale a lot is because he's more of like a presence, not necessarily like a trying to act, like his presence is so neutral. It feels like his acting is natural. That's one great thing I like to study in terms of acting. And I do study directors as well, because some directors do really have like really, really good visuals of what they want. So like, what's that? Hold up. Let me actually pull something up real quick. So like, okay, let's pull this director up because I really want to talk about like my background in acting and things like that. So let's talk about Damien Chazelle. So this guy here is one of my favorite directors of all time because like he knows how to utilize actors and basically apply it to his story and settings in a way to where like it's unique storytelling. So this guy here is like one of my favorite directors that I study and look at because this guy's work is amazing. For those who don't know, he directed my favorite movie of all time, La La Land, and Whiplash. Like these two movies here are my favorite movies of all time. Like you can, like Whiplash is about setting out your potential, and La La Land is a musical, but is chasing your dreams in a musical. Two beautiful movies, and this one here won an Oscar, by the way. But you understand where I'm coming from, though. Like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to acting. I'm not just a guy who's just spewing out nonsense, because like, you know, it's kind of infuriating how like a lot of people say they're voice acted trained or they're acting trained and whatnot, but they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. You know, I guess you could call it fake it till you make it, but like in my case, I don't really like to fake it. Like I'd rather would just take my time and slowly learn about things and then slowly become better at it. So that way it sounds more neutral, you know, like Christian Bale in a way, to where like his acting is so neutral, it's like natural, you know. Same here. That's what I like in my acting and whatnot. I don't want to be forcing, like I can do that easily, like force a character, you know. Yeah, you can easily force characters out, you know, out of your voice. But if there's no nuance, then what is the purpose? Like you get what I'm saying, though. I'm too good, basically, for what I'm saying here. I would not consider, like, I consider myself as like a newbie voice actor because I have no roles, you know. But I'm not gonna lie, it kind of hurts because I'm kind of thrown under the bus in a way. But that's how this acting industry works, though. You do need clout. I'm not even gonna flex. Like, I think without question, everybody needs some form or some sort of like some form of clout. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to my colleagues or to my fellow actors, but like if you don't have an internet presence of some kind, it really makes it hard for you to get chosen. Because yes, you can be the most skilled person, but skill alone in this day and age is very hard to succeed with. People say work harder or work smarter, but you actually need both. You need to work hard and smart. There's no one or the other at this point, you know. It's just a sad truth, and I'm just saying this because like there were times when I felt like I was gonna die. Literally, I fainted a couple or a few times actually from acting because I was so starved, so deprived of like water. But if you want to come into acting, like any sort of acting, voice acting, stage acting, television acting, and whatnot, my advice is this. You kind of need to die on it. This is what one of like my old teachers taught me that I'll tell you right now. If you truly want it, you're going to have to die on it. And I'm not saying like just throw away your life. Basically what I'm saying is that you're going to have to spend a lot of time on it. And there's a high chance you'll go nowhere. And I'm just speaking facts here, everybody. This isn't like me just speaking out of my butts here, because like I have some fellow stage actors that has been acting for 15 years and they're not even famous actors yet, you know, or they're not even on Broadway yet. Because that's just how realistic and how difficult it is to succeed in any form of acting. Like I know that voice actors, this is the thing that kind of infuriates me about voice actors. They kind of just tell you how their story went, but like, I think a lot of people do not grasp the reality of time and how long it takes. Some people will only take like a month or so before they take off, or a year. Other people will take a decade before things start working out. You have to understand too that as you get older, your vocal cords start to wear out. So like, your voice will start becoming more rasp as you get older. So you really have to start adjusting your characters with your voice as you get older, because like people just don't pay attention, but you can only go so far into voice acting depending on your vocal cords. Like, why do you think old people sound like old people and little kids sound like little kids? It's not because of like puberty and whatnot. It's really because as you get older, your vocal cords will slowly change. Yes, it will sound pretty much the same throughout your whole adult life, but you can hear and tick things out, you know. But yeah, though, English dub Tokyo Revengers Tenjiku RX3 is now streaming on Hulu. Well, all 13 episodes. I'm a big fan of Tokyo Revengers, but I'm not gonna lie, I think the ending kind of falls kind of flat. Because I don't want to spoil Tokyo Revengers, but I do like the openings though. I think the openings for Tokyo Revengers is really good, especially the first one of season 1. I think that one was amazing, but it's kind of up in there. Honestly, it's going to have a little bit of a split fandom for sure, if I'm being honest here. But to each their own, everybody. But I would like to post more voice acting stuff though, but it's just that I just don't have time. And I guess I'll call this a live stream for today, even though this one was a kind of a bit shorter than usual. But I do got to do things today, everybody. But I want to thank everybody for dropping into this live stream. But yeah, Tokyo Revengers is so. I tell you, man, I tell you. But as always, everybody, I really got to get going now. I know this was a short one. I will live stream again. I don't know exactly when though. Maybe Friday, next Friday. But as always, thanks for watching, and yeah, see you in the next one. See you.